to work this morning. I live in Chicago and I work outside. I'm a crossing guard and it is cold. I think right now it is 9 degrees. When I went to work this morning, it was -1 and felt like -15 because of the wind chill. So it'll be a warm day today, a whopping 9 degrees. The high is 12, which should be at 3 p.m., which is just in time for me to go to work again. But it's really, really dry outside and like there's not a lot of moisture, at least not for my skin. My skin doesn't take any of it. I've developed eczema recently and well, I guess I'm not gonna check you out, that's gross. But I came home from work this morning and then I took an everything shower. I washed my hair, conditioned my hair, did a hair mask, washed my face, exfoliated my face, shaved and exfoliated everything, got out, applied like a leave-in conditioner to my hair, brushed it, and I'm all set, but now I need to moisturize. Come do that with me. I need to do my face, my lips, and my hands. I'm using like a 70 SPF moisturizer for my face, which I need to use more often. I'm not super good about that, but I wanted to come on here and set like a standard for myself, for now, for the future, for whatever this channel becomes, whether it's like a thing that I can keep up with or whether it's like something that low-key turns into like a side gig that may or may not pay the bills. I feel like on BookTok and BookTube and Bookstagram and whatever, I am on there so often watching content and I have favorite creators, like people who I cannot wait to see what they have read this week. And that's great because that's the precedent that they have set for themselves. And I know that I'm coming on here and trying to make bookish content and there's a little bit of pressure to keep up with that, with like a long video every week and then a short every day, at least one short every day. And that's not what all of them do, it's just what a lot of them do. And it makes me a little nervous because I'm a reader, not a speedrunner. You won't see me having a 10-book reading wrap up for a month. I am lucky if I read 2 books a month. By the way, this is my favorite lip balm. I'm a vanilla girl, like the Fleur Vanilla Skin that took over TikTok forever. That's my favorite kind of like perfume, like body scent, whatever. This is the EOS. It's 100% natural organic lip balm, vanilla bean, and it's just a 2-pack of this. And I got it at like Mariano's, which is like a Kroger subsidiary, and it's so good. It's like a lip oil but in stick form, and I cannot get enough of it. Like it's so good. Why are you focusing on my shoulder? But you put this on and it goes on like it's truly a balm, but it goes on in stick form and then on your lips it turns into like a lip oil, which is just incredible for me. I enjoy reapplying it quite often throughout the day. So, but I'm not a reader that like when I read, I'm reading to savor a book. I'm taking time annotating like whatever I want to annotate in this book. I am taking time to really get to know the characters, and then if I read like a particularly heavy section of a book, whether it's like heavy in the mood or heavy in detail, world building, whatever the situation is, I'm gonna stop after I finish that section and I may take the rest of the day to just process it and to like absorb what I've just read. There are plenty of times where I've seen like even some of my favorite content creators who a couple of them have left like the platform in the last like year or so. They will read like 15 books in a month and then at the end of the month do a reading wrap up and then have this stack of books there and it looks really good. The thumbnail is perfect. Everything's awesome about it. And then when they get to the middle of the video where they're talking about like the 7th or 8th or 9th book that they read, they're like, here's this book I read and honestly I don't remember what it was about. Like I know I read it and that's about it. And I don't ever want that. So if that happens to me, I want it to be because I read the book 15 years ago, not because I read it last week and I read so many other things that my brain couldn't even hang on to the story. So then it's like I've wasted my time reading something that was not memorable at all. Like I would rather read something that I hated and then at the end of it be able to completely and thoroughly articulate to you why I didn't enjoy it and why I wouldn't recommend it to other people. So I showed you my lip balm. I'm using just like a Neutrogena Ultra Sheer like facial moisturizer and SPF for my face, and then for my hands, I don't know what the brand is, but it's the Righteous Butter. I got this at Walmart and it's for like very dry skin formula. It says get sinfully soft skin with our amazing formula Righteous Butter. So it's just pink, pretty, fine. It's like this, not exactly whip, almost kind of, but it's really soft. It's got a really light scent. Like There's just enough if you get really close to your skin to smell it, then you'll be able to feel it. So like I do so many other things in a month. Right now I'm getting into the schedule of like editing the videos that I film, and that takes a lot of time. Like it takes hours to make a video, and especially if it's a longer video, to go through and edit everything together and cut out things that you want to cut out where like you just blanked and maybe you're not really talking about anything really. But like an example for me is this month at the, like I know that by March 8th, because that's my next book club meeting, by March 8th I will have finished Martyr by Caiti Akbar, which is my current read. I'm only this far into it, and it's like February 17th. Like, I'm not a fast reader, but I'm tabbing the living shit out of this book. And every single tab is like, on the side I have tabs for like certain sections. On the top there's tabs for whole pages. Entire pages that I want to go back through and pick pretty much every line out of, highlight it, and just revisit it and recall why it was important to me. Like I had a discussion with someone the other day, I think it was a comment actually that was left on one of my videos, where I had said that I like literary fiction, and then someone asked me what the difference was between genre fiction and literary fiction. And so I got into a conversation with my husband about it, and essentially they're both fiction, but literary fiction focuses more on the character of the story and like the character development of like one or two major characters, or I guess maybe depending on how many characters are in the book, all of them, but you get like a full character development set by the end of the book. But then genre fiction is focused on the plot and the story, and not so much the characters. You just have characters that are there as pawns, but they're focused on the actual plot of the story and what's happening in the book. That's perfectly written to describe why I love literary fiction. I love diving into a character, and that's what this book is. This is the perfect example of literary fiction. Like there's a plot, but I'd have to think to tell you about it. Like this is all about the main character and a couple of side characters, but this is fully a character study of Cyrus Shams, which is the main character in the book, and I can't get enough of it. And I'm so thankful that Caiti Akbar is alive to have written this and has written and published it. I'm not even done. I'm not even halfway through it. Not even halfway through it, and I already know it's gonna be on my fucking favorite shelf by the time I finish it. But like I will be reading that, 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini, and White Nights by Dostoevsky by March 8th. That's what I will have read. That means that like I'm keeping a reading journal. It's this. One of my friends from my book club inspired me to really get into making a reading journal, and I had bought this notebook last year. It's like a moleskin graph, like dotted pages notebook. She said she uses the same book for every year, and that's incredible. That would be great. I would love the continuity to be able to go back and look at what I had done. So here's my cover page. And then on the third page is my pages per day log. And if you look closely, you'll notice a bunch of zeros. Because the style of my reading, I didn't track anything in January, so that whole column is empty. But my style of reading is like February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 0. February 4th, 47 pages. And that was like at the end of the day, I was like, I picked the book up to start it. The 5th through the 10th, nothing. 0, zilch, nada. The 11th, 28 pages, because at the end of the night, I had a little bit of energy left and I read. 2 days, the 12th and 13th I skipped. Valentine's Day, read 48 pages. And then since then 0, and then yesterday I read like 18 pages, but I haven't logged it yet. That's the style of my reading. Like I'm not consistent because I'm doing other things. Like I have a separate video I'm gonna make about this fucking shelf that is all over my social media, all over my like book accounts, that is like people are obsessed with this shelf and they think it's great for like keeping their books on it. I got it, I built it, I filmed myself building it, and like B-roll of when it was done. I'm not crazy about this shelf. It's very unstable. Like you have to hook it to something, and it's not gonna stay here forever. It's just where it's the only spot it'll fit right now until I put more effort into finding out where it could go. But I just like, it's not very good, but I took time to do that, and that took up time. And then I'm gonna have to edit the video, and I don't have the drive to make filming bookish things in my life go from a hobby to a chore. And then I'll start to hate it, and then I don't get around to it ever again. So like that's what I want to avoid. And right now I'm really enjoying it. And it's so motivating and satisfying that every time I post a video, a long video, I get more views, I get a couple of more subscribers, and then when I post a short, I post it to like my personal Facebook like story and reels, Instagram reels, TikTok, and YouTube shorts if it's like a short video. And the engagement and the boost in followers and likes and views and everything that I get every time I post a short is so motivating, and I want it to stay that way. And I'm excited to grow like a following and to make new friends in this, and to be able to share things that I do, because my daily life is filled with books, or like things related to books, like going to a bookstore, journaling about books after I've read them, like writing about what I've read, or if something I read has inspired me to say something about a certain topic, then I'm gonna write that. And it takes time to write that. And I've vlogged myself a couple of times so far just writing, not what I'm writing, but just the process of me writing. Also, there's time, aside from making bookish content and posting it, I watch a lot of bookish content. I'm still gonna sit down for like 10 hours a week and watch YouTube of like my favorite creators and what they've read and what they're doing and where they live and what bookstores they've gone to. But it's just really overwhelming sometimes to like hop on, you know, whatever social media platform, and then I see like some of my favorite content creators, and this is again, no shade toward them, but they're doing reading wrap-ups of like 15 and 16 books a month. That's almost 4 books a week. There's no way. I have things to do. Like, I have pets. My dog, who is like behind me right now because I have my middle of the day meal, LUNCH, that I can't say out loud because he'll freak out. And I have 6 birds and they require things. And I have a husband who I enjoy just spending time with and sitting with and chatting. And like, I enjoy going to pick him up from work and then bring him back home, and then we just either cook together or have like leftovers for dinner, and then we sit and we watch TV or we discuss things and we just talk. And I'm not gonna film that and I'm not gonna post it, but I'm also not gonna be reading during that time. So I think it's important to note that obviously some people don't get into reading, and that's fine. But I think if reading is important to you, any kind of reading is valid. Like any pace, any whatever, any style of reading, whether you're on your iPhone reading an ebook or fan fiction or the Kindle app or on your Kindle or a physical book or an audiobook or whatever. I think that all of those options are valid, and they all mean something like very important about what you're doing. And I think that reading should just be enjoyable, and I understand how it can be a job, and it would ideally be like something that I had a job in one day. Like, I would love to get into publishing or editing, but I have to make certain moves before I do that, or before I can do that, or be like qualified to do that. But ultimately, nothing about how much or how little you read determines like your love for literature or art or whatever it is that you're passionate about. Reading 2 pages a day is still reading, and it's still not doom scrolling on your phone on TikTok, which is probably ultimately not great for your brain. But to unplug and just grab a book, flip through it, no screen time, like read for an hour before you go to bed. Call it a night at 8 instead of 9. Like, go to your bedroom, just chill, like do whatever nighttime routine that you have. Pick up a book and read. Put this down, pick this up, and help your brain and your eyes and your body relax and shut down and wind down for the night. So this is Billy. He is the cockatiel. He sees himself in the reflection, so he's talking to himself, who he probably thinks is another bird. My goodness, okay. And he's gone. Something else is that I like to read slower. My natural reading pace is pretty quick, and when I really sit down to read and I'm not focused on like annotating like in detail in the moment, I just throw a tab on it if I remember something about that paragraph or that section, and then I just let it go. And I've explained this before, where like while I'm reading, I'll do these like super messy tabs so that I know which ones I have to go back and adjust. But when I go back and actually adjust them, they wind up looking like this. Like, they barely stick off the page, and then I have gone to whatever part that is and then highlighted or annotated whichever part it is and made it important to where it'll stand out to me. I like to do it in like a neutral way though, so it's not super contrasting. But I think that slowing down when you read, especially if it's something you're really enjoying, I dread Martyr being done because I'm enjoying it so much. But I also think that like slowing down while you read gives you the opportunity to like savor the content that you're consuming, like the prose, and then whatever themes that are written into the story and like how they're being executed, and character development, and the plot development or plot driving. And then I think it also gives you the opportunity to do more like introspection and to look at the emotional impact that the book is having on you, especially if it's a really, really good book. Like A Thousand Splendid Suns, I've heard so much about the impact that it leaves on you after you're done reading it, and I'm excited to read it. Like, I'm thrilled to read it. But I think that the reading wrap-ups that are like 15 and 20 books long, or even 10 to 15 books long, to me that's really overwhelming, and I'm not a fan of being overwhelmed. And when I read, I want it to feel like a mindful and like immersive experience instead of like a checklist. I'm not reading to achieve anything except happiness, and that's it. like the joy from reading a book. And then I'm also a big proponent of like, I have so much respect for books as an object because it's something that you spend a lot of time with. Like, I've been reading this for almost 2 weeks. I'm spending time with this. It goes everywhere with me. It's constantly either in my hand or like a jacket like pocket or a bag or something. It goes everywhere with me. And I'm spending time like with my face in these pages, and I'm pouring over the paper that's in these pages and eating up like every word that's in this book. So I enjoy the feeling that I have whenever I'm reading this book. Oh my gosh. And then when I'm done with it, it goes on my shelf. And then from that point on, it's a favorite book, or like a book that you have whatever experience you had with it. And then you look at it again and you remember how you felt reading it. And you know that you took your time with it and you truly enjoyed it. And you didn't rush through it because you needed to get it done for a book count for the end of the month. It's totally fine to have reading goals, but I don't think your reading goals should cause you stress because you're reading to get away. Like I'm not saying everyone is. I personally am reading as a form of escapism and to like take my brain somewhere else. All that being said, if a high reading goal of like 10 to 15 books a month fits your lifestyle and you enjoy it, there's nothing wrong with that either. But I just think there's a lot of pressure currently in the book community online to read as much as you can. If you have free time, you should be reading, not doing anything else. That's not how it's gonna happen for me, at least. I think also some of the like myths about books that I've run into in my life, not exactly recently, maybe in the last like couple of years, is that like there's like these ideas that people seem to have about these crazy ideas that people seem to have about people who read or who are known as like a reader in their friend group or whatever, that like you have to read fast to be a real reader, or if you don't read a ton, you're not really serious about books. And that's ridiculous. Like, that's insane. Because I could tell you more about the books on this shelf and the books on my favorite shelf than I could about anything else. And if you think that that makes me not serious about literature, then you're not the person that should be in my life. Like, we can't be friends. Also, that people who read more books are more intelligent. So ultimately, I just wanted to make this video and have it established on my channel that you won't get a high reading output from me, but you will get a manageable reading output from me. And you'll see a lot more of my life throughout the month because I'm comfortable filming it, not having read every single day of the month, but doing other bookish things like exploring a local bookstore or checking out like a new cafe for like a local reading spot just to get out of the house and read and feel like you're being productive, or do it just to get in a different environment that's fun to read in. I'm in Chicago, so there's tons of places that I haven't explored yet that are gonna be great for reading that I know that I've heard about but haven't been to, and my plan is to like take you guys with me when I go and check those out. I've already been to one, and that's a video that's gonna be coming up soon. But all of this to say that if you love to read but you don't read fast or you don't read a lot, you're not alone. And there's nothing wrong with how you read and like how much and how fast that you do or don't read. Your reading journey is personal and that's it. Unless you have signed yourself up into some kind of like Olympic style readathon, it should be enjoyable for you and you should have a good time while you're reading and not feel stressed about like you not reading fast enough through a page, because then you're not even focusing on the story at all. And then at that point, why are you even there? You know, I think the most important thing is probably just to enjoy books that you're interested in a way that brings fulfillment and not like stress to you. This is gonna be a chill channel. Hopefully we can all have fun with it and just enjoy the books that we read. Maybe we've read the same book. Maybe you're reading what I'm reading now. Either way, I'm gonna enjoy sitting down to talk with you about them when I do finish them. But yeah, that was it. Just wanted to say that, get that off my chest. And now I'm going to go and have my lunch, which is the gyro pork that my husband made, tzatziki sauce, and pita bread. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I will see you in the next video.